Can't tell y'all how much I hate going to Walmart. Like I fucking hate it, especially right now. Like I don't like going on a regular. Like I just don't like going to Walmart. But especially right now, it's just like you go in Walmart, and I feel like at least four of the aisles are just you're walking in the coronavirus, just walking down the fucking aisle. But I was there the other day picking up something. Just I didn't even grab a cart, right? I just went in to grab some eggs, some quick shit like that, and this lady was coughing all over by the fucking eggs, and I'm just like, damn, I hate Walmart. All right, man, we're back. We're back. I'm excited to chop it up with you this week. AllGas show, man. You know who it is. It's your boy RayGQue. Find me on Twitter, Podzilla. You know who it is, man. Burning down podcasts, creating content for you because I know you need it right now. You know, these are unprecedented times. There's nothing that I can say, nothing that I can talk about that really, I mean, it's the world that we live in right now. This is crazy. It's wild. It's scary. It's uncertain, right? It's unforeseen. It's uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen or how things are going to look, not just in the fantasy landscape, not just in football, but in life, man. And every day, how we move, how we converse with people, how we carry ourselves in public, what we do, what we don't do, who we talk to, how close we get, how we interact with people at work. Like this shit is just it's monumental, changing, life altering stuff that we're dealing with right now. And I'd be remiss if I didn't start this show by thanking each and every healthcare medical professional worker there is out there. Like, thank you from the bottom of my heart to you. If you're listening to the show, I can't say how much I appreciate what you're doing for the people of each individual state, the world, the U.S., man. It's just the nurses, the doctors, the solo practitioners, the general practitioners, or, freaking pediatricians, everybody who's employed to take care of us and putting your lives on the line to ease discomfort that people have, to ease, the fears and concerns, to help us heal and get past this, man. It's just, this thing is, it's so much bigger than football. And those of us who talk about this on a regular, those of us who interact with me on Twitter, like it's so humbling. And I got a tweet the other day that I'll post on here where somebody in the medical field, pretty much just said it's shit, man. Just every day is just draining physically and mentally. And when he got in the car and turned on the Destination Devy podcast, like just to hear a release, something else than what's going on with this COVID-19 stuff, that it made him feel good. And that's what I do it for. Like, I want to provide actionable content for you guys. Like, that is the number one goal, to create quality, good content for you guys to employ and use in your Dynasty leagues, your Devy leagues, redraft. Like, that's the number one goal. But right after that, for me, it's entertainment. Like, I want you to get excited to see my content cross your timeline, to see my content pop up on your YouTube feed, because it's entertaining, because you enjoy listening to me, you enjoy interacting with me, you enjoy having fun, man. I don't even take myself as serious as some others because I want you to have fun with me, right? Like, I say it all the time. When I wake up in the morning and I want to watch sports talk TV, I want to watch the talking heads go at it on TV, I'm not turning on Undisputed to listen to Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless's analysis about what draft prospect they think they're gonna target or who's gonna be good or bad. I listen to them because Shannon Sharp is entertaining, man. Shannon Sharp entertains me, and I enjoy listening to people with entertainment value, and I hope I can provide that same thing for you. And for those of you who are working, doctors, nurses, all of that, man, again, I was not starting this show off without saying thank you for what you're doing, putting your lives on the line. And we really, from the entire fantasy football community, we appreciate you. Much love. But it is rookie draft season, right? It is time. The NFL draft is literally a couple of weeks away. We finally made it. We've been talking about this 2020 class for years, man. Shit, at least 2 years that we've been excited for this class. Trading picks, maneuvering things around, getting ready for this. And here we are a couple of weeks away. Everything is on track. We've talked about these players ad nauseum. I mean, it's exhausting. I'm sick of talking about 2020. Let's get the drafts going. Let's get it popping. Let's get these guys on our roster. And right now, everything is still scheduled to go according to plan, right? The NFL draft, nothing has changed. It's not going to be in person. It's not going to be like in the past, but it's still going to be the same time, which is good. So we'll have a better indication of landing spots here coming up. But there's nothing I can tell you about these players now that you haven't already heard. Cam Akers had a bad offensive line. Jerry Jeudy didn't hit these market share thresholds. Henry Ruggs didn't receive a lot of volume at Alabama. What Jalen Reagor did at the Combine. Denzel Mims' 40-time vertical jump, what he ate for breakfast. We know all of this shit. We know it all. It's time to get actionable. Where are these wide receivers going to land? And where are the premier landing spots for some of these players at the next level? So I just kind of looked at, the starting wide receiver landscape and where some of these guys could potentially end up. And I've identified some spots, right? I've got some spots. I've got some spots where these wide receivers could land. Some of them I think they are premier landing spots, but let's just run through it, right? So on the AFC side of the picture, let's look at the Baltimore Ravens. Got Lamar Jackson, reigning MVP, all-world quarterback. We want him in Superflex. Hollywood Brown, Miles Boykin, Willie Snead, Mark Andrews. That's their receiving core right now. They definitely need another weapon on the outside, somebody that could be potentially that number one. I don't know if Hollywood Brown is really that, but for fantasy purposes, of all the teams that I'm listing today, I think this might be the worst spot for a number one wide receiver. They want to run the ball. They want to pound the ball. Jackson is still developing as a passer, but I just don't know how good I'd feel about CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy if they landed with the Ravens. So that's one potential landing spot where a team needs probably an alpha at the wide receiver position. Now, the Denver Broncos with Drew Lock, Courtland Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton, and Tim Patrick, they got an alpha. It's Courtland Sutton. He's a top 12 wide receiver in my opinion, and I think he's in a prime smash spot for 2020. So whatever wide receiver is taken by the Broncos, probably not going to be a number one. That's Courtland Sutton's role. They got Noah Fant there, pass catching tight end. So I think, a solid, rock-solid number two wide receiver would do them a lot of good. And I think for fantasy, that's what you'd be looking at if any of those top guys landed with the Broncos. I've seen Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy all mocked to Denver by various sources here and there. So, not the worst landing spot, but I think the upside for any wide receiver that lands with Denver is immediately capped because of Sutton. Now, the Houston Texans, I got a green star next to this one because I think this is a team that needs a number one after they traded away their number one for David Johnson. So we'll see how that works out for Bill O'Brien. But Deshaun Watson, all he's got is Will Fuller, Kenny Stills, Kiki QT, tight end, not really, running back, maybe. So, Denzel Mims, Lamb, Jeudy, Higgins, any of those guys land in Houston, I think the chances of them developing into that number one alpha spot is it's something that could happen sooner rather than later. So I really like the Texans as a landing spot. Indianapolis Colts, they need another pass catcher. Phillip Rivers, T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, Darius Fountain, if he's still there. I don't know, a bunch of nobodies. Chester Rogers, is he still with them? Then you got Jack Doyle at tight end. So the Colts need a pass catcher. They need a quarterback too, but they need a pass catcher. So maybe Rivers can find his YOLO ball type wide receiver like he had in Los Angeles with Mike Williams, and a wide receiver could hit that landing spot. I'm kind of indifferent about Indy. I think they're a run-first team regardless. But, wide receiver there, Hilton's getting up there in age, so maybe somebody to take over after T.Y. is done. Las Vegas Raiders, they need bodies, right? They need an alpha. They need a number one. And whatever wide receiver the Las Vegas Raiders take, they will be the number one sooner rather than later. You got Hunter Renfrow, good slot option. Tyrell Williams, a good deep threat. You've got a great running back or an ascending running back in Josh Jacobs, and then a fantastic tight end in Darren Waller. But they need a guy, man. They need a number one, and I would love to see CeeDee Lamb land on my Raiders. Lamb, Jeudy, I'd be happy with it. I keep seeing Henry Ruggs mocked there. I'm just hoping the Raiders learn from past mistakes and do not invest that number 12 pick in Henry Ruggs. Now, the Miami Dolphins, interesting landing spot as well. You got Fitzmagic back there still slinging the rock. Devontae Parker came on big this year. Preston Williams looked good. Still got Albert Wilson, but they need talent. They need talent, and whether they take a quarterback in this draft, which they should, whether it's Tua or Herbert, they need a pass-catching weapon to go alongside Devontae Parker. So I think that'd be a nice landing spot as well. Underrated spot, New England, right? You got N'Keal Harry, Edelman, and Sanu. The last two guys are getting up there in age. We know what Sanu is. We know what Edelman is. The jury's still out on Harry. I was very high on N'Keal coming in to last year's draft, 2019, and he missed a lot of the season due to injury. So him getting, a full offseason under his belt, getting more acclimated with the NFL game, still very excited about his potential, man. 6'4", 225, can run, can do stuff after the catch. Quarterback, is it Stidham? Is it going to be Cam? Are they going to draft somebody? I have no clue. So this landing spot is a little shaky, but they definitely need or could add another wide receiver. Maybe not in round 1, but round 2 or 3, you could see New England go that route. The Jets need somebody, and they're going to do it, right? They need a wide receiver for Sam Darnold. You got Bashard Perryman, which I like. I like Perryman. Crowder, we are on that Crowder train every single year. I'm not as sold on Crowder as others, but you got to get Darnold some weapons, right? So CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, we keep talking about those top guys because that's what's going to happen early in the draft. I think they pick 11th, so not a fan of Adam Gase. I mean, we all know what Adam Gase does to people, does to players, but Darnold needs another weapon outside of Perryman, so I think that'd be a great landing spot. Then we're getting into some of my favorites here, the Packers. You got A. Rodgers, you got Devontae Adams, and you got nothing behind him. Alan Lazard, cool story. Valdez-Scantling, we tried to make that a thing, and it's not. They need a number 2. Number 2 alongside Devontae Adams. Man, Rager, Mims, any of those guys land in Green Bay. Hell of a landing spot. Would love to see that happen. As well as the Vikings, right? Kirk Cousins, they got rid of Stephon Diggs. He got his wish. He's in Buffalo. So good luck, Diggs owners. I have no shares of Stephon Diggs and don't want any. But the Vikings, man, Thielen needs a running mate. And Thielen's getting up there in age. So I keep seeing, again, Mims, these names that we keep going over. What about a Bryan Edwards? There's a ton of wide receivers that would make sense for the Vikings, especially where they're picking at. And they're going to go wide receiver at some point. So another fantastic landing spot. Carson Wentz, you got a bunch of tight ends, and then that's really nothing else after that. Alshon Jeffrey serves his purpose. D-Jax is still hanging around. Arcega-Whiteside, no thank you. Wasn't a fan of him last year. Not a fan of him this year. He was overtaken by Greg Ward. So Philly, they need a field stretcher. They need talent, period. I don't care if it's Ruggs, Ayuk, whomever. That's a spot where a wide receiver will be taken. And the San Francisco 49ers, one of the more intriguing landing spots for me, because that offense is just so creative, right? They're going to find ways to use their players, and you've got Deebo Samuel. You got George Kittle. You got a stable of running backs. But my question is Deebo really a 1? Is Deebo really a 1, or is Deebo like a very, very solid or really, really good wide receiver 2 that can give you wide receiver 1 winning weeks, but probably best utilized in that number 2 role? I happen to think he's a really, really good number 2 and not a number 1. So, man, and San Francisco they finished, you know what I'm saying? They were in the Super Bowl, and they got the fucking 13th pick because they traded away a defensive lineman. They had an embarrassment of riches at D-line, traded one away. Now they got the 13th pick and the 31st pick. I mean, that's money for the 49ers. Give Jimmy Garoppolo another weapon. Give Kyle Shanahan another weapon. Jalen Hurts is intriguing. Jalen Hurts is not a number 2 or number 1 wide receiver at the next level. So, man, if they land one of them dudes, I'm all over that. I know we talk about draft capital being more important than landing spot, but it's hard to ignore if one of those wide receivers land with the 49ers. And then the last team I wanted to mention, Washington Redskins. You know, they could definitely, if they go Chase Young and Ron Rivera decides to build around Dwayne Haskins, which he showed a little bit of promise towards the end of last year, right? But what his upside is, I don't know, man. Is he just Derek Carr in another uniform? I don't know, but they got Terry McLaurin. Kelvin Harmon looked all right. Steven Sims, one of those sleeper guys that people are talking about. But they can definitely add some talent at the wide receiver position. If Judy or Lamb or one of those guys, Rager, if they land in Washington, what does that do for Terry McLaurin? Is he truly the number 1, or does Judy or Lamb push him out of that spot and sort of make him the number 2? So a lot of implications if Washington drafts one of those pass catchers. And then I didn't mention Buffalo. They definitely can use talent at the position. I'm just not as big a Josh Allen fan as others, so I don't know how he would sustain Dawson Knox and Stephon Diggs and John Brown and another rookie wide receiver. I think that player would be better for regular football, the real NFL, opposed to fantasy. But those are just some of the landing spots where I think some of these wide receivers could be taken that could provide, wide receiver 2, low wide receiver 2, high wide receiver 3, usability from day one. So, again, my favorite spots, Green Bay, Minnesota, Philly, San Francisco, Houston. Think Denver would be nice. I also think the Jets and the Raiders have some usability spots for some of these wide receivers as well. All right, man, it's wild times, right, with these mock drafts and looking at different ADP, but according to DLF, I think there are some really good value plays right now. And, this first guy that I'm going to mention, I'm not the biggest fan of his overall game. I think he's one of the most talented players in this draft class from a talent perspective. And if he can pull it all together and stay healthy, he can be a dynamic wide receiver at the next level. But, Laviska Shenault, wide receiver out of Colorado right now, 17th overall in Superflex formats. That's what his ADP is. And that's all I'm referencing. All these are Superflex. Majority of the leagues that I play in are Superflex. Majority of the leagues we all participate in are Superflex leagues. So 17th overall in Superflex formats. And I think that's a screaming value. Laviska was viewed as somebody who was going to be a top 5, top 10 at the worst pick in rookie drafts coming into the season. And hell, even at the start of the pre-draft process, a lot of people were really, really high on Viska. Here's my thing, and I've said this repeatedly. When he's on the field, the dude is a fucking monster, right? He's a beast, like a tank with the ball in his hands, 220 plus pounds at 6'2". He ran a 4.59 with torn groin, abdominal issues, all of that. Like, he's a beast. But you're only going to get, what you're getting with Viska. He's missing time. He's going to limp off the field at some point in time. Like, this coming in. Torn labrum, foot injuries, all kinds of shit. So, don't complain when you draft him and he's on the injured reserve squad for a little bit. Don't bitch and complain about it because you know what you're getting out of Viska. But at 17th overall in Superflex formats, I think that's appropriately placed. I think that's a good value to take a shot on Laviska Shenault. Are you taking Michael Pittman over him? Are you taking KJ Hamler over him? I don't know. I probably would go Viska in that situation. So 17th overall in Superflex formats, it's a good value for Laviska Shenault, as well as Brian Edwards. He's kind of a forgotten man, wide receiver out of South Carolina, didn't participate at the Combine. We know there's no pro days, and Edwards was my wide receiver 5 prior to the Combine. Dude is talented, man, and he provides that dynamism, right? He returned punts at South Carolina, one of the earliest breakout ages ever recorded. He was fucking playing and dominating SEC competition at 17 years old, which is insane to think about, right? But Brian Edwards, 20th overall in Superflex format. You're getting him close to the end of the second. I think that's a screaming value, as well as Jalen Hurts. And I've been on record, and Jalen Hurts for me is my QB3. I like him better than Herbert. I like his upside more than Herbert, and he's getting a lot of buzz. Potentially, what if he sneaks into the end of the first, early second? Superflex formats, he's going 19th overall after Herbert, after Jordan Love. There's no way I'm taking Jordan Love before Jalen Hurts. I'm not buying it. He may have top 15 draft capital. I'm not buying Jordan Love. Yes, he's got the arm strength. Yes, there are games where he puts it together and looks great, but everything that I'm hearing from people that I trust is Jordan Love can't read defenses. That's why his production dipped this year. Don't buy into the Jordan Love hype, and I'm not doing it. I will take a chance with the upside of the progression that Jalen Hurts has shown in his career, that rushing ability. Give me Hurts in 19th overall in Superflex formats. Hey, you get a potential starting quarterback. Have we not learned our lesson from Daniel Jones and still was sliding to the third round in Superflex drafts last year because we just didn't want to like Daniel Jones, and he went out there and balled this past season, balled out. So I'm going to take the bet on Jalen Hurts at 19th overall ADP in Superflex formats. And the last guy, Ino Benjamin, all right? ADP 31st overall in Superflex formats according to DLF. And for some people, including myself, I was high on Ino coming into 2019. And while his production numbers may not have been what he did as a true sophomore, he could catch the ball, he could run the ball. He tested a lot better than people thought he would at the Combine. Listen, I know we want to get excited thinking about Kansas City and Tampa Bay and all of these premier running back landing spot locations, drafting DeAndre Swift or Jonathan Taylor. But it's going to be a guy like Ino Benjamin or fucking Zach Moss or Joshua Kelly or Darrington Evans that gets picked by some of these spots that we think these top-rated running backs are going to. And if the talent is there. Ino is a talented runner, right? He's not the biggest. He's not the fastest. He's not the strongest, but he can catch the ball. He can run between the tackles, and it's the 31st best player coming off the board in Superflex formats. I think it's a value, man. I think it's a value. And the running back position, man, they get hurt so easy. You know, if he makes the roster, I think it's increasing from 53, the active roster, or the game day roster is increasing. If he can get a shot, man, I think he can seize a third down role sooner rather than later. And at 31, I'm interested in it. So some ADP values, according to DLF right now: Laviska Shenault, Bryan Edwards, Jalen Hurts, and Ino Benjamin. Now it's quarantine time, man. What am I watching? What else can I do? Grinding film, that shit gets old. So I gotta have a release. And right now, Ozark, season 3 is out. I watched 2 episodes. I'm trying to let my wife catch up. So we went back and we're starting over like season 2 so she can understand what's going on. But Ozark, man, I got a feeling. I don't want to talk about what I think is going to happen, but I can see some shit setting up in Ozark. So dope show. If you haven't checked that out, check out Ozark. Money Heist is another show on Netflix. Like, if you can deal with the subtitles and kind of the bad fucking talking over the thing, then Money Heist is dope. Like, I think Money Heist is a really, really good show. Kind of crazy, kind of wild, but I use subtitles for everything. Like, I guess I got bad hearing, but fucking regular TV, I got to turn the caption on. I can't hear anything. Got bad hearing. Must be the hits that I took to the head in football. I hope it's not early CTE kicking in. But yeah, Money Heist, Netflix, check it out. They got this show, The Platform. I don't know if y'all saw it, man. It was kind of weird. This whole social class, platform, food level shit. I didn't understand the end. I didn't get it. I missed the message. It was a little weird. I don't know. It was just weird. Platform. If y'all got feedback on that, let me know. But one of the better shows that I'm watching right now, man, is a spinoff from what some people call one of the greatest shows of all time, Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul is dope. Better Call Saul is dope. Like, I don't even think about Breaking Bad anymore. Like, it's in its own space. Saul Goodman is the fucking man. Like, if you like Breaking Bad and you like Saul Goodman, you gotta check out Better Call Saul. Like, I'm telling you, I don't even think about Breaking Bad anymore. It's its own space. Better Call Saul is dope. And then for those of you who have a subscription to FX, Snowfall. If you like that Narcos, drug dealing, gang lord type shows, Snowfall is it. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed in Snowfall. And when it's all said and done, spicy, bold take, we're going to be talking about Snowfall is one of them top TV shows, man. Snowfall is some good, real hardcore shit. Snowfall is dope. So check that out, man. That's what I'm watching right now. That's what I'm watching. What y'all watching, man? Startup time. So I'm in a startup draft right now. I talked about it on Twitter. Just wild shit happening in startups because of rookie fever. Rookie fever is pushing veteran values down the board like crazy. If you want to win and compete in Dynasty right now, it is the time to jump in startups because wild shit is happening. I mean, people think I'm BSing, man. DeAndre Hopkins going 3rd, 4th round. Cortland Sutton falling. All these players I'm seeing Justin Jefferson getting selected over proven NFL wide receivers. And I'm not talking about old guys. I'm talking about young cats, man. Tyler Boyd being taken as the 35th best wide receiver. Like, this is madness. This is crazy. And I'm not telling you how to create or construct your team, right? There's a multitude of ways. Maybe some people just want all rookies and they want to do it that way and build that way. But man, the value that can be found in Dynasty startups right now is fucking insane. Like, it's fun to watch all of this stuff play out. It's fun to see it. Again, I'm in one right now. Let me just run down what I've got cooking right here. So first round, it's one of the new DLF leagues. DLF Scott Fish championship type series, right? So Scott just tweeted those out. McDowell just tweeted those out. And it's been wild. So let me just run through what I've got. First round, tight end premium, 2 points per reception for tight ends. I went with Travis Kelce in the first, Chris Godwin, 204, A.J. Brown, 309, Cortland Sutton, 404. Cortland Sutton in the 4th, man, I'm loving it. And I'm about to be back on the clock. These dudes don't know what's going on. So it's going to be fun. But I'm just giving you a little insight, man. There's so much value to be had right now in startup drafts. Places where Deshaun Watson was going in the 1st round last year in Superflex startups. You can get Watson in the 3rd. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the league you're in. I'm seeing Tua fly off the board as QB7, QB8. Love me some Tua. My QB1 in this class, I'm not taking him QB7 in the startup. wild shit. It's crazy wild times out there. So I just want to say, stay safe, be safe, take care of your loved ones, be cognizant of the people around you, social distance, keep your space. You know, if someone's coughing in the store, hightail it the other way. But stay tuned, man. I got some good shit coming. Very good interview. I'm excited for one of the top NFL draft prospects is dropping by Destination Devy to have an interview. He's only doing one interview, and I secured that. So hopefully I'll have that up this week, exclusive here on YouTube. I'll do a written copy of it on dynastyleaguefootball.com. But I appreciate y'all, man. If y'all haven't checked out, if you haven't subscribed to this show, please do so. Tell your friends. I would really appreciate it. And thank y'all for tuning in, man. Much love, much respect for the support that you show Destination Devy. I'm going to keep cooking up some hot shit for y'all. But be safe. Until next time, y'all know what it is, man. Peace.